The woman's hour has struck. It has struck for the women of Europe and for those of all the world. The significance of the changed status of European women has not been lost upon the men. And women of our land, our own people, are not so unlearned in history. Nor so lacking in national pride that they will allow the Republic to lag long behind the Empire. Presided over by the descendant of George III? If they possess the patriotism and the sense of nationality which should be the inheritance of an American. They will not wait until the war is ended, but will boldly lead in the inevitable march of democracy, our own American specialty. Sisters, let me repeat, the woman's hour has struck. Second, as the most adamantine rock gives way under the constant dripping of water. So the opposition to woman suffrage in our own country has slowly disintegrated before the increasing strength of our movement. Turn backward the pages of our history. Behold, brave Abby Kelly rotten-egged because she, a woman, essayed to speak in public. Behold the Polish Ernestine Rose startled that women of free America drew. Aside their skirts when she proposed that they should control their own property. Recall the saintly Lucretia Mott and the legal-minded Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Turned out of the World's Temperance Convention in London and conspiring together to free their sex from the world's stupid oppressians. Remember the gentle, sweet-voiced Lucy Stone. Egged because she publicly claimed that women had brains capable of education. Think upon Dr. Elizabeth Blackwell, snubbed and boycotted by other women because she proposed to. Study medicine. Behold Dr. Antoinette Brown Blackwell, standing in sweet serenity before an assembly of howling clergymen. Angry that she, a woman, dared to attend a temperance convention as a delegate. Revere the intrepid Susan B. Anthony mobbed from Buffalo to Albany because she demanded fair play for women. These are they who builded with others the foundation of political liberty for American women. Those who came after only laid the stones in place. Yet, what a wearisome task even that has been. Think of the wonderful woman who has wandered from village to village, from city to city. For a generation compelling men and women to listen and to reflect by her matchless eloquence. Where in all the world's history has any movement among men produced so invincible an advocate as our own Dr. Anna Howard Shaw? Those whom she has led to the light are legion. Think, too, of the consecration, the self-denial, the never-failing constancy of that other. Noble soul set in a frail but unflinching body, the heroine we know as Alice Stone Blackwell. A woman who never forgets, who detects the slightest flaw in the weapons of her adversary. Who knows the most vulnerable spot in his armor, presides over the woman's journal and, like a lamp in a lighthouse, the rays of her intelligence, farsightedness, and clear thinking have enlightened the world concerning our cause. The names of hundreds of other brave souls spring to memory when we pause to review the long struggle. The hands of many suffrage master masons have long been stilled. The names of many who laid the stones have been forgotten. That does not matter. The main thing is that the edifice of woman's liberty nears completion. It is strong. Indestructible. All honor to the thousands who have helped in the building. The 4 cornerstones of the foundations were laid long years ago. We read upon the first, we demand for women education, for not a high school or college is open to her. Upon the second, we demand for women religious liberty, for in few churches is she permitted to pray or speak. Upon the third, we demand for women the right to own property and an opportunity to earn an honest living. Only 6 poorly paid occupations are open to her, and if she is married, the wages she earns are not hers. Upon the fourth, we demand political freedom and its symbol, the vote. The stones in the foundation have long been overgrown with the moss and mold of time. And some there are who never knew they were laid. Of late, 4 capstones at the top have been set to match those in the base, and we read upon the first. The number of women who are graduated from high schools, colleges, and universities is legion. Upon the second, the Christian endeavor, that mighty, undenominational church militant. Asks the vote for the women, and the Methodist Episcopal Church, and many another, joins that appeal. Upon the third, billions of dollars worth of property are earned and owned by women. More than 8 millions of women are wage earners. Every occupation is open to them. Upon the fourth, women vote in 12 states. They share in the determination of 91 electoral votes. After the capstones and cornice comes the roof. Across the empty spaces, the roof tree has been flung and fastened well in place. It is not made of stone but of two planks in the platform of the two majority parties. And these are well supported by planks in the platforms of all minority parties. And we who are the builders of 1916, do we see a crisis? Standing upon these planks which are stretched across the topmost peak of this edifice of woman's liberty, what shall we do? Over our heads, up there in the clouds, but tantalizingly near. Hangs the roof of our edifice the vote. What is our duty? Shall we spend time in admiring the capstones and cornice? Shall we lament the tragedies which accompanied the laying of the cornerstones? Or, shall we, like the builders of old, chant, Ho! All hands, all hands. Heave to. All hands, heave to, and while we chant, grasp the overhanging roof and with a long pull. A strong pull and a pull together, fix it in place forevermore. Is the crisis real or imaginary? If it be real, it calls for action, bold, immediate and decisive. Let us then take measure of our strength. Our cause has won the endorsement of all political parties. Every candidate for the presidency is a suffragist. It has won the endorsement of most churches. It has won the hearty approval of all great organizations of women. It was won the support of all reform movements. It has won the progressives of every variety. The majority of the press in most states is with us. Great men in every political party, church, and movement are with us. The names of the greatest men and women of art, science, literature and philosophy, reform, religion, and politics are on our lists. We have not won the reactionaries of any party, church, or society, and we never will. From the beginning of things, there have been antis. The antis drove Moses out of Egypt. They crucified Christ who said, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." They have persecuted Jews in all parts of the world. They poisoned Socrates. The great philosopher. They cruelly persecuted Copernicus and Galileo, the first great scientists. They burned Giordano Bruno at the stake. Because he believed the world was round. They burned Savonarola who warred upon church corruption. They burned Euphame Maquiliana because she used an anesthetic. They burned Joan d'Arc for a heretic. They have sent great men and women to Siberia to eat their hearts out in isolation. They burned in effigy William Lloyd Garrison. They egged Abby Kelly and Lucy Stone and mobbed Susan B. Anthony. Yet, in proportion to the enlightenment of their respective ages, these antis were persons of intelligence and honest purpose. They were merely deaf to the call of progress and were enraged because the world insisted upon moving on. Antis male and female there still are and will be to the end of time. Give to them a prayer of forgiveness, for they know not what they do. And prepare for the forward march. We have not won the ignorant and illiterate, and we never can. They are too undeveloped mentally to understand that the institutions of today are not those of yesterday, nor will be those of tomorrow. We have not won the forces of evil, and we never will. Evil has ever been timorous and suspicious of all change. It is an instinctive act of self-preservation which makes it fear and consequently oppose. Votes for women. As the Honorable Champ Clark said the other day. Some good and intelligent people are opposed to woman suffrage. But all the ignorant and evil-minded are against it. These three forces are the enemies of our cause. Before the vote is won, there must and will be a gigantic final conflict between the forces of progress. Righteousness and democracy, and the forces of ignorance, evil, and reaction. That struggle may be postponed, but it cannot be evaded or avoided. There is no question as to which side will be the victor. Shall we play the coward, then, and leave the hard knocks for our daughters, or shall we throw ourselves into the fray? Bear our own shoulders to the blows, and thus bequeath to them a politically liberated womanhood? We have taken note of our gains and of our resources. And they are all we. Could wish. Before the final struggle, we must take cognizance of our weaknesses. Are we prepared to grasp the victory? Alas! No. Our movement is like a great Niagara with a vast volume of water tumbling over its ledge but turning no wheel. Our organized machinery is set for the propagandistic stage and not for the seizure of victory. Our supporters are spreading the argument for our cause. They feel no sense of responsibility for the realization of our hopes. Our movement lacks cohesion, organization, unity, and consequent momentum.